Well, I know for myself, I mean, you started practicing a specific procedure or policy there that impacted me, quite frankly, from in my career. And that was that you've made it a policy throughout your career to interview each and every multi-unit loss prevention executive. And it's been a big point of yours for 20 years now. Can you explain that? Can you talk to the viewers about the importance of that and give us a little feel for it in your mind?
Well, I know it's created a few issues.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a number of issues associated with that. When you say that you're going to have your senior executive team interview for multi-unit individuals, it sends a strong message. It sends a strong message internally to your team about how important this position is. And it also sends a pretty strong message to the candidate that's interviewing about how important this position is and how important they're going to be to the organization, which is critical. And it does the second thing, which is it really helps you gain alignment with your team. So we have an outline of core competencies in leadership and managerial skills that we really interview to, and that kind of gets updated on a regular basis. And that's a benefit sometimes of bringing people in like Suni, who brought in a whole new vision of how we were looking at this. And so it ensures that all of the team understands what these competencies look like when they're working. And the second piece of that is we debrief afterwards, so we're all aligned on what we saw around those competencies, and that is helpful. And the second thing is, out of that will come sometime issues around developmental programs. So I might be interviewing you, and I go, okay, you have this development need. Can we provide that if we bring you in? Do we have that in our arsenal? Should we start adding to that arsenal? And I'll give you one quick thing, and then I know we can move on. But as we think about what's happening in the industry right now and the importance that technology has in it, you have to be bringing people in that have, a bent towards technology and aren't shy about it.
So you come in, you spend 14 years at Ward, a number of years at TJ Maxx, build a successful program, and you then join Office Max as their first vice president of loss prevention, arguably one of the toughest retailers to work for in the United States. If I remember, they went through more senior executives during your tenure than any other retailer that I know of. I mean, that was a tough environment. I mean, you walked in, the department was basically non-existent. You had nothing to work with. You built it, you staffed it, you drove the numbers down, and ultimately you became a senior vice president of loss prevention. Can you walk us through Office Max a little bit and what you walked into, what you felt, what you experienced, and how you built it?
I want to step back for just a second,
Sure.
Because there's a lot of eyes in that. And both at Ward's and at TJ Maxx and Office Max and now Sears, I've had the honor of working with a lot of very top LP executives, and that truly goes back to each one of those positions we've talked about. 80% of my time is spent on people. It's spent on making sure we're inviting the right people into our team. It is making sure we're living up to our commitment of developing people, making sure that we're developing them to meet our business objectives. And so I've had the privilege of really being associated with some great executives, a lot of which are still at the companies that I was at. Back to my entering into this position, I took my time to try to understand, again, what was going on with the program and with the people, understanding what the executive team wanted out of this position. And quite honestly, I muddled through it for a while till I got people to get through a cycle and show them the impact of small tests that we were running, because Mike didn't want to put out the money. Now, Mike and his wife started Office Max, and they felt personal about everything. And so when loss prevention came in, he was the guy that was telling me that I made up this green gook in the kitchen, and we put it on the screw heads that were holding down laptops and stuff like that, so people wouldn't steal it. So from that standpoint, what I did was to build a test and learn environment where we took a program, talked it over with Mike, convinced him that it was the right steps to take. Then what we did is we embed it in a district, or we'd embed it in a region, and we'd cycle whatever it was that we needed to cycle. We'd see the results, he'd buy into it, we'd roll it out. It was really, from that standpoint, not much more difficult than the other businesses that I've been associated with. It's just when you were the last man standing, the most senior executive after, senior officer after 5 years, it was tough from a consistency standpoint, because you create these relationships, these partnerships, and when you have to rebuild them and they don't have the knowledge base for it, it's a lot of work to get them up to speed, because you're already going 120 miles an hour and they're trying to catch up.
Talk to us about that relationship piece, the value of partnerships, and how important that is. Is there a way you can put that in words for the viewers and the young people in this industry, that the importance of that partnership with the operators, with the merchants, with the vendors? I mean, can you elaborate on that?
The most important thing that I do outside of people is helping to develop the relationships, the partnerships. And those are not just coming to you, Gus, when I need something, or coming to the operator, or coming to the merchant. It's talking to them about what we can do for them. What is it you'd like to see from us right now in our business units? We meet with them on a monthly basis. We provide them all of the shrink data and all the data that affects their organization, and if there's other information that they need to get. So what happens then is when we come back to them and say, listen, you're looking to do this, and we think this is really an exposure. They're more open to listen to you. They're more open to make a move that you want to make that we think is probably a better move for the corporation. So partnerships, when it's trying to get things done through other people that don't work for you, that's the true sign to me of a manager or a leader, is people that can influence other people when they're not working for you to do things that you need to get done. And that's typical in any business. And so to me, that's a sign of a staff person, and that's one of the experiences that I picked up when I was working in a staff position, because people didn't have to do what you wanted to get done, and you had to figure out, how do you get that done? Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing that's made me and the team successful over the years.